Welcome back to another exciting episode of Aaron's Opinion, the podcast for blind people where we talk about critical issues in the blindness community. I'm Aaron Richmond. And in tonight's episode, I just want to let you know that this episode is copywritten by Aaron Richmond and Aaron's Opinion. Thank you. You can hear this episode in many places where you would get a podcast, along with watching us on YouTube, to which I'm very impressed with the positive results I've been having from doing these video interview TV show things right here on YouTube, as I would call them. Sighted people are welcome to be on Aaron's Opinion, and tonight we're very honored and very pleased to welcome Bobby Stiegel from the Blue Falcon podcast. I reached out to Bobby because I just really liked his content, really liked what he was doing, and I always want to grow my influence, and grow our podcasting community. On a phone conversation, Bobby has a very interesting story regardless, but he was telling me that when he was in elementary school, he noticed that, people with disabilities and people who are perceived as being different were oftentimes bullied and not treated well. Why don't we start there and talk to our audience about some of the observations that you've made from your perspective about critical issues in the disability community, because I think you're really knowledgeable about it. Go right ahead.
Well, Aaron, I want to say thank you very much for having me on the podcast. This is sincerely a huge honor for me. So thank you.
Welcome.
I wanted to also, I guess, introduce myself a little bit. I'm Bobby Stiegel. I grew up in a small town in Chickasha, Oklahoma. And growing up in a small town, I guess we had about 25,000 people in our town, but I actually lived outside the town by about 20 miles. So my school life, elementary school, as Aaron mentioned, consisted of me waking up very early. I was the first one on the bus, and I was the last one dropped off. The first year, I guess, kindergarten, right? There were two other gentlemen who were next on the bus with me, and I believe their names Caleb and Jake. I'm sorry if that's not correct, but Caleb and Jake. They had a stop for the buses at the local gas station, the only gas station for 20 miles anywhere. And so, I was first on the bus. It was freezing cold, obviously, Oklahoma wind. And we picked these kids up, and they were, I believe the right term is mentally handicapped. They had, I believe, some sort of Down syndrome or something of that nature, but they were good kids. And I didn't know how to react to them as a 5-year-old kid. I didn't know how to proceed or what was going on, like how to act properly. So I was just nice to them, and they were nice to me. Sometimes a little bit too rough, as we became friends. But they didn't know those boundaries. And as we take that, small, I guess, environment where it was just me and them hanging out on the bus at first, and then place that, in the school. Probably not when I was 5 years old, but as I progressed, I went to that same school until 8th grade. It became apparent to me that people treated them differently, and not in. Some people treated them differently in a good way, and some people treated them differently in a not in the best way. I think a lot of the memories that I have were of teachers or parents upset at these young kids, and yelling at them, telling them to do this or do that. You can't do this, you can't do that. And it really stems, looking back, I believe it stems from not enough education on how to make life for them as easy as possible, as well as everyone around them, to where we can get the most, what I call efficient coefficient. And I didn't like that. I didn't like that at all. How, they're just kind of, to me, maybe, I'm wrong. I hope I'm not, but I was very, nice to him as much as I could be. And I felt like some people would just put up with him as a temporary, awkward moment. This kid's hugging on me, or he's, really loud, or he had some candy and he's going crazy. And to me, I just had fun with it. I was like, yeah, candy, love it. Let's have some more candy. Let's do this. And from then on, I try to make it a point to have the mindset of these kids have feelings too. I've seen these kids cry. I've seen these kids laugh. I've seen these kids stare out the window with me and wonder what life is about. They have all these same emotions and things that we do. And it's tapping into that. That I really hope that I make a difference in the disability, specifically special education environment throughout my life. I hope I accomplish either a nonprofit or anyway. It's on my to-do list to make a very large impact, I guess is what I'm trying to say.
I appreciate it. And it's really important to come to this observation. I think you were really nice to them. And I think that is the right way to react. Just react normally. Just treat them like any other friend. That's fine.
Right.
I completely appreciate that. I think that shows a lot about your character. The fact that even simply the fact that you remember being a little boy, being 5, and remember this type of situation, apart from it being really positive, it shows a lot about your personality. It shows a lot of encouraging parts of your
Thanks.
personality that are really, I mean, that's really what I look for in a guest, and that's really what the podcasting world needs, and it's certainly what the special education world needs. So I guess my next
Right.
question, to kind of jump around a bit, was, so these experiences you had as a little boy, did they encourage you, or did you end up studying special education in university? If you don't mind me asking that.
Oh no, of
For the
course not.
record, I studied international relations, and then got into the education field afterwards. So did you study special education?
No, I did not. I studied mechanical engineering, and
Ah, also
um,
good.
also good, right? But I was very involved in the church when I was in high school, and I did Big Brothers Big Sisters when I was in college. So I've always tried to do, uh, what I was most capable of. Still, I'm a veteran. 2 years out of my transition to the civilian life, so I'm still establishing myself. And that's one of the things, I guess, is I'm having to face is I can't help everybody right now, but I can make a positive impact today on those around me. And when you're in a position to establish yourself, it's really important to make sure that you do it correctly so that you can get to the point quicker and more efficiently and more powerfully to help those uh, the way that you want to, how you want to, and when you want to. I hope that made sense.
Yeah, it certainly did. Well, I think that podcasting alone is a beautiful art form, and it's a
Oh yeah,
really positive and really interesting way of communicating with the world. So that's what kind of turns me on to it. The fact that I'm able to have a conversation with someone else, and then other people weigh in on it and kind of have, different influences from around the world. It's really, that whole global influence really fascinates me about it. A lot of people are completely tuned into these podcasts from all over. So why don't you tell us a
yes
little
sir.
bit more about, um so we already
I got
know.
plenty to talk about. Real fast. Hold on. I got to stop you real fast.
Go ahead.
When did you
Go
start
ahead.
podcasting?
Go ahead. Oh, um, so I've been podcasting for about a year. My show has gone
Okay.
through several different phases, several different styles, several
Nice.
different paint. What
Yeah,
you like?
paint jobs, right? New trims, new brush, new landscape. You never know what you're gonna get in this in this realm.
All
That's
right.
funny.
Well, actually, it turns out I do know what I'm going to get. I'm going to get my opinion. That's what I got. So I got a couple new paint jobs, and then I transitioned more into YouTube because I was looking at my analytics, and I discovered that actually, no matter what the episode is, most of the people who watch it are watching it through YouTube. So I figured, maybe more people want to see what I look like. Maybe more people want to hear me talk and more.
When did you come to that realization?
Like a
When was that?
couple months ago.
I came to the same conclusion a couple months ago, and that's why I've been making a YouTube push myself.
Yeah, I think the secret truth is that more and more people are turning to YouTube for some reason, and I think that they want to see our faces, and I think they want to really feel the conversation. I I think so. I think
Mhm.
YouTube is a really effective platform. I mean, if you set up your channel right, if you have a page and all of that, as we do at Aaron's Opinion, I think it can be really, really, really effective. So,
Well, I'm gonna ask a favor for you.
sure.
Stop by my podcast page, my channel page, and give me a grade. And I know your opinion's always honest, so I'm curious to see what you think. If I have an A, B, or C, or D podcast
Ah.
page.
All right, I will take a closer look at that. I will certainly rate your page.
Well,
I will I
you're a
will
professional through and through. Like, so that's why I'm asking you, guys. I don't know if anybody else knows it, but when it comes to podcasting, Aaron is head to toe legit. This guy is in it for the long haul. Don't get it mistaken.
I don't think well, thank you is all I should say. Thank you.
You're welcome.
Glad you think so. Head to toe professional through and through. Well, okay. Well, that's great then. So
Oh
so
man,
I
this
will
is fun.
I know that's why I do it. I teach all day. I work online. I love being a teacher. I love having conversations. So I think being a teacher is a really good transition to podcasting. It's a way to really communicate, a global message like this.
Wow,
Yeah, no, I talk all day. I love using my voice to teach
I
the
never
world.
realized that.
Well, I'm telling
Well,
you.
you have the beautiful, awesome, perfect voice, which I'm
Thank
very jealous of, too.
you.
By the way,
You have a very patriotic voice that I love to hear your nice Oklahoma voice.
America.
Yeah, I love that
Yeah.
on this podcast. So, well, I appreciate that. But so I already know the origin of Blue Falcon, to which we don't need to tell our audience everything about that. But
Yeah,
what
if you're
have
in the
you?
military, you'll find out. If not, go ask somebody in the military. They'll tell you.
There you go. All right. Anyway, so with all the experiences you've had in life, one of the things that impresses me and one of the things that really scares me is I've noticed that a lot of veterans, I mean, I'm 29 years old, especially the veterans who are my age and younger, some of them are kind of shy and some, and you know what it's about. A lot of them kind of shy away from society. It really speaks volumes to the fact that you're reaching outwards to society. And that really fascinates me. So when you have a
Hmm.
podcast and when you record an episode, what topics do you cover? And really what's your message?
I'll tell you tomorrow, and it'll change next year. I feel like my podcast is constantly evolving.
They are, sure.
Um, right. But if we boil it down to what is it I'm doing here? What's the purpose of all these endless hours? Aaron, you know how many hours it takes to learn this stuff, and then as soon as you learn it, sometimes there's a software update, or there's new software you have to learn, or a new YouTube has a new feature, etc. You know how much time goes into this, so it's not something that I take lightly. When I do something, I try to do it is the best ability, to the best of my ability, but ability has to be professional on some level, or at least honest of where I'm trying to be. Um, I gotta stop saying I've noticed that you never do that. I'm so jealous. Okay. When I
It's
was getting out
it's
of the
tricky.
army,
There's a
okay,
trick. You gotta pause and you gotta breathe and you
tell
gotta
me.
just think. And then you have to just stop your voice, like you have to practice it. Practice.
I
Perfect
think I think
practice makes
the
perfect.
yeah, practice makes perfect. I think the silence is uncomfortable for me. I think that's what it is. So yeah, practicing that was uncomfortable for me. Just so everybody knows. All right. When I was getting out of the army, I didn't understand what I wanted to do with a podcast, but I knew I wanted to have one. I've been listening to Bill Burr since 2009, 2010 time frame. He has the Monday Morning Podcast. He's a comedian, hilarious dude. If you like stand-up comedy or if you just like to laugh, I suggest him. Bill Burr. You can also see me in his Netflix special that he did in Nashville. I was on the front row. Really excited about that. And this, I have a cameo on Netflix, bro. Give me some credit over here.
That's amazing. That's amazing. The highlight of the show for you is that you were actually seen on the shoot in the audience. That was the highlight for you.
Okay, it is really bad too because I know we got an email saying what we should wear and what we shouldn't wear. I was so excited, didn't even go through it. I was like, "Oh, we're taping. This is for a taping. Oh my gosh, this might be on Netflix. Oh man, I'm gonna look good tonight." Didn't even read the rest of the email. Supposed to wear dark clothes. I wore white. So everyone sitting in the front rows, first 5-6 rows, and then me wearing a white shirt. And the whole time I'm like, Bill Burr is 5 feet from me, and I'm thinking, oh no, he may call me out and be like, hey, see that you didn't get the memo, huh? You want to wear a white shirt? You want to stand out? Like the whole time I'm thinking he's gonna call me out. This is gonna be the end of my life. I'm gonna be on Netflix as the guy who wore the white shirt.
That's material. Okay, so maybe you need to transition your podcast into comedy because that is material. I've never heard that before.
Oh man, I'm glad you like it.
I've heard some material. You got it, man. That's some strange stuff.
It was a long hour, that's for sure. And then my cousin was actually with me, who's a girl, and so every time somebody sees it, they're like, "Was that your girlfriend?" I'm like, "No, it's my cousin." Like, "Oh, you're all from Oklahoma." I'm like, "Oh," setting myself up perfectly for that. But long story short, I listened to his podcast, and his podcast got me through a lot of hard times and a lot of great times. I can go back to his old podcast and remember listening to it for the first time. Where I was at, what was going on, what part of that episode I thought was the funniest. So I knew that I wanted to do a podcast, and I was scared. I was really scared. I didn't know what it'd be on. I didn't know if anybody would listen. I didn't know if it would affect how people perceive me. I'm really good at looking stupid, but I try not to, make it too apparent all the time. And my intelligence and always being right, or mostly 99% of the time right, is something that I pride myself on. I usually don't say things unless I know for a fact that I've done my research and etc. So I realized also that sometimes I'm wrong, and if I am wrong on something, big or small, now I may have an audience to address and admit that I'm wrong. And I hate admitting I'm wrong to one person, let alone a few hundred people I got listening to the podcast. So fast forward to May 2018, transitioning out of the Army, starting my job in Nashville with PS&G. I can't really see the hat, but PS&G Partners. They are a financial firm. They're Nashville. They're with Penn Mutual. Penn Mutual is a life insurance company and financial strategies planning firm that's been around for 173 years. I didn't know the weight of how awesome it was that I got the interview and then get hired. I didn't understand how the establishment of the company you work for and the history of a financial firm, how critical it is to not only you and your clients, but to future generations. I had honestly just kind of wandered in there. Somebody gave me the opportunity for an interview, and I was like, "Oh, I'll take it." Come to find out, it's my passion. I love it. Love my job. And so now I'm sitting here thinking, okay, how do I do a podcast? And I'm a financial consultant who deals mainly with life insurance and whole life insurance and tax mitigation strategies, yada yada yada. All these boring terms, but important. Should I talk about money on my podcast? Immediately, I'm thinking, no. Terrible idea. nobody wants to sit here and listen to me talk about money and financial strategies about what they should do. But I have a terrible habit of talking too fast. I have a terrible habit of not pausing, reflecting on what I've said, what the other person has said, and controlling the conversation to where it's more productive for both parties. And so I was like, you know what, we're just going to do this. So I went down to Best Buy, bought a cheap old mic, a little Focusrite, I think it was a 2-channel, the first one I got, and called, hooked up my iPhone, called a few friends. A few friends wanted to come on the podcast, and we started it July, I think July 4th was the first podcast I did, for the purpose of teaching myself to listen, to talk properly, to mean what I say, to have fun, explore myself, have a journal also. It's kind of like a journal for us. And to really highlight the transition from being a veteran, from being an active duty member in the military to the civilian life, because you hit on something very important earlier, how you notice a lot of vets or veterans, they're not, most of the time, they're not socially involved. And if they are involved, it's usually social activities that are involved with alcohol. Nothing wrong with that. Big fan of it. If that's your gig, in moderation. But there is that that gap, of how to become socially active in a productive way. And in the military, we were productive at work. And then after work, it was time to relax, hang with the boys, do push-ups and look at ourselves in the mirror, whatever. At the end of the day, we didn't really understand how to create the community outside of our work environment, because our work environment was our family, was our community. And so I wanted to document that and have people on my podcast who are either community leaders, veteran or non-veteran. I think everybody can be a leader. I think you're a leader, Aaron. I think you are a leader. I think you serve not only this country, but this world. I think that's great. I don't think you have to wear a uniform to serve this country.
It's a good answer. Thank you for that. Yeah.
It's true. It's true. And I think a lot of people need to remember that. I feel guilty sometimes when someone says thank you for your service, because at the same time, I'm very thankful that they said that. I can't take anything away from somebody who takes the time to say that to me. On the other end of that, though, I want to say thank you for everything you do. You're awesome. You're probably awesome too. You're probably a nice person. I just want to shake them and hug them. Thank you. And so it's that mutual relationship that I hope I hope that more civilians understand that veteran life isn't necessarily just a veteran life. It's about transitioning, mobilizing, adapting, and creating environments that everyone can win in and be the most efficient as possible. No one's going to be perfect. No community is going to be perfect. But if you don't get out there and try, if you don't, I guess I was in the bomb squad. So if you don't, pull the cord, nothing's ever going to happen. Is that a good answer?
Yeah, it's a really good answer to all of that. That was an excellent response. Okay, well,
it's the first time I've ever been asked that question, so I appreciate it.
The answer. I have to be blunt with you and say the answer was so good I forgot my own question. So that must have been a really good answer. I think I asked. No. I asked what you cover on your podcast, and you totally opened up a book. You totally told the story. Definitely. Have you ever incorporated into your podcast people from other countries around the world? I've done it here. After we finish recording, you'll be added to my private WhatsApp group where you'll talk to all the wonderful guests from around the world.
Genius idea. I was going to start the same thing. I love it, dude. Man, you're so smart. That's such a great idea.
Actually, it wasn't my idea. Another smart person taught me that, and I followed their lead. It was someone else smart who set the group up for me. They since have vacated the group, to which now I'm the admin. So I appreciate it. But yeah, That's another long story. Yeah, I've found that including people from other countries is really interesting. I mean, in our group we have people from Tunisia. I mean, you'll talk to Tunisia, Gambia, Uganda, Australia, France, England, Jamaica, Canada, Bermuda.
Oh,
I
not
mean,
Canada.
well,
I'm not. No, not the Canadians.
oh,
I'm
okay.
kidding. I'm kidding, Aaron. I'm just kidding. I love
I
Canadians.
see. I
They're
see.
hilarious.
I see. You brought your A game tonight, though, definitely. But the point is that including people from other countries, I've had a lot of fascinating conversations. Yours certainly being one, but I've had some fascinating conversations with people all over the world. And I'm noticing that many of them are saying a lot of the same things, that they wish that society was more inclusive and that they wish that people were just more understanding. I'm hearing that a lot from Nepal even. I have someone from the group from Nepal. I mean, I've got you covered as far as countries go. So have you incorporated other countries into your podcast?
Man. Well, I served with a lot of people from other countries, so I'll win. I'm kidding. In the military, that was one of the best parts. Was people from all over America, right? And then outside that, you have people outside the country. In fact, one of my, I guess, buddies in boot camp, he was this 4 foot, maybe 4'10", 5 foot max teacher from Nepal. When he said Nepal, that reminded me of this guy. His name was oh no, too long. This dude was so tiny, but he was a math genius. And I'm 6'2". Most of the guys who were in infantry, we were infantry boot camp. We were in pretty good shape, and here comes this 5 foot, dude from Nepal, chugging along, can't understand a lick of English, really. And we're having to break down everything like, don't shoot that way, shoot this way. I'm kidding, it wasn't that bad. But to answer your question about the podcast, I've had one person from Venezuela come on. And she actually, I saw her on TikTok back in February, I think, and she was talking about how some of the things that were going on politically she saw in her country 10 years ago. She made a TikTok and went viral. I was one of the first people to see it. I think she had like a couple thousand subscribers whenever I messaged her to come on the podcast. Coming to find out, her and I, it was hit or miss for about 6 months. In that 6 months, she went on to become TikTok legendary on Fox News on the Ingram Angle. I'm not sure if anybody watches that, but she was a guest on the Ingram Angle, which is pretty cool. It's from a TikTok video, and she's very intelligent. And so she came on the podcast, and that was probably one of the most special conversations I've had on the podcast, was really hearing a totally different lifestyle than what I know. You can read it in a book, you can see it on the news, but when you talk to a person from there, their experiences, and feel that empathy, feel those emotions, feel the story, I guess, kind of deal, it's way better. It's more, it's mo better. I'll just leave it like that.
I never shy away from trying to expand Aaron's opinion. That reminds me of something. That reminds me of the fact that that's a perfect guest for Aaron's opinion. Let's see if we can get her on this show. I would love to interview someone like that. I don't think I've ever had come to think of it, I have noticed in the podcasting community there are significantly less podcasters from Central America, Latin America, South America, that region. I don't know what it is.
Oh, yeah.
Right. I've noticed that there's significantly fewer of them who participate in the community in that region. I don't know what that's about, but that'll be let's talk about that later. That's going to be an interesting one. I've never had a Venezuelan, so we gotta expand Aaron's opinion as much as I can, and it's a very interesting society and quite a troubling one.
You should have a globe and have a pin where every single person you've had on the podcast.
I should, but then you know what, on the analytic tools, they put up flags for you though as you go along, so you kind of do see little flags popping up all over the world. Plus, when I see all the different
they're terrible. Okay, I get it. Your opinions are mine. Those are dumb.
But yes, actually, but no, guys, look, you can look at the United States. See, you can even see Oklahoma. See, so
don't go there. Run. Don't go there.
Every state is the best in the United States. But yeah, no, there's some there. I've had a lot of really interesting episodes. So apart from that, something I want to kind of dig into a little bit more is you said that you have some goals. You want to maybe get into nonprofit, maybe. You really want to help people who truly deserve help. So what do you really want to do? What are your true goals in life, do you think?
That's a great question, Aaron. Excuse me. I actually found my journal from high school and college. I only made a dozen or so entries. I wish I made more. My brother gave me a book. Three older brothers. Sorry, youngest of four boys. My poor mother. She's a saint. But I was the youngest of four boys, so I got a lot of advice my entire life. Still do, whether I ask for it or not. And he had me read this book, and I suggest this book to everybody. See You at the Top by Zig Ziglar. Now, this book encouraged me to make a journal to identify my goals. And long story short, going back to your question, I saw where I had written my goals in there from when I was like 14 and continued, those goals. I think my last entry is in 2009. So I'd have been 24, 23. But at the end of each entry, I put my goals. My goals were to become comfortably wealthy, donate a whole lot of money, travel the world, own a yacht, own an island, and marry the woman of my dreams. And so every single time, I had different variants, but that was my goal. And so I still stand by that. My goal is to become as wealthy as possible. Everyone has their maximum potential that they can reach. And I'm always a measurement by relativity kind of guy. My dad didn't come from a whole lot, and he provided a great life for me. And I hope that what I do in my life and the gifts he's given me and the foot up he's given me, work ethic, etc. I make more of an impact because of all the work he did, and so on, so on. I hope that if you want to be more specific, I hope by the time I'm 40, I guess get rid of hope. I hate saying that. By the time I'm 40, I'll have 5 businesses running, one of them being a nonprofit, which will be specifically for Knoxville, Tennessee, that's where I live, area. I think a lot of things in the nonprofit world could be more efficient, and I think we have to break it down to localities. I see so much misuse of funds. Like I said, I'm a financial consultant, huge nerd, taking Calc 1, 2, 3, and 4. I'm pretty good at reading tax returns, and so I've gone through a lot of these nonprofits this year, that have been raising money, and 9 times out of 10, most nonprofits maximize their donations to political campaigns. That's going to be a huge no for my company. No dollar will go to any political campaign from the dollars that are supposed to go to benefit, the cause. And so if I'm going to make my impact on the nonprofit, special education, special needs, local community environment, that's going to be I believe my trademark is starting the belief that you don't have to donate your maximum percentage allowed by the IRS to political campaigns to get things done how that nonprofit needs them to get done. There's a much more efficient way. We have the internet, just let everybody know what you need.
Two statements about that. First, what you said about the fact that nonprofits donate as much as you said to political campaigns. There's a lot of scary things in this world. That statement scares me. That is a disturbing statement. I believe you, and that's
I was pretty disturbed.
That is a socially that is Number one, I'm not surprised, sadly. Number two, that's offensive to that fact is offensive to my sensibility as a successful person. Number three, it's offensive to me as someone with a disability that they would do that. Yet, why am I not surprised? Number two, so shame on that. But let's be successful regardless.
Love
Regardless,
it. Positive.
because we can only control us. We can't control others. I can only control me. Regardless, have you spoken or have you participated or gotten involved in community, service organizations such as, there are many of them, but such as, Lions clubs and things like that?
No, I have not yet. So I moved to Knoxville last year. I got out of the Army in 2018, moved to Nashville from Clarksville. It's about an hour and a half away. I have a lot of family in Nashville, and I have a girlfriend, and she lives in Knoxville. So I could either have my girlfriend live in Knoxville or not. So I moved to Knoxville, and just as I moved here and started getting settled, I started going to this veterans event every Saturday, first Saturday of the month at a Lions Club, I believe it was, or Elks Lodge is what this one was.
Right. Yeah.
I'm so excited, dude. I'm like, oh my gosh, I'm the youngest person here by like 20 years. I love everyone here. This is going to be great, first Saturday of the month. And, I was thinking about joining the club. Bam, COVID. I'm like, this is a terrible time to be in a new city. How do I meet people?
So I would talk, the first step that I would take is I would, once everything calms down or gets back to the new normal, however you look at it, I would go to them, that Elks Club or Lions Club, whomever they may be, and I would talk to them about your goals. Because legitimate and successful organizations like Lions would almost certainly be very interested in your motivation to help people with special needs in your community, and I'm totally on board with that idea. I think that's something that we badly need. And the other thing, speaking of plugs and things that we do, one of my goals as a podcaster is I do want to eventually, and I've gotten a mixed bag. I've gotten very negative feedback and very positive feedback about this. One of the things that I would like to do is genuinely help other blind people. There are many blindness organizations, but there's only maybe one or two of them that I would donate to.
Can we bring those up real fast? And also, I need to take your time out. This air is getting really chilly. I got to close my garage door. So
okay, well let's take care of the air. All right, air break. All right.
Sorry about that. I had to put on my jacket too. It got cold in here so fast, and I was like, I got to pause this for a second.
No worries, my friend. It's I didn't know it got that cold in Tennessee. We aren't even to December, January yet, man. Really, it's that cold?
I'm a baby.
Oh, you didn't need to say it that way. You could have said, yeah, it is that cold.
Oh, I mean, dude, it's so cold here. It's like the Arctic.
There we go. Okay, where were we? I kind of.
You're talking about two companies, nonprofits that you donate to.
Well, and I'm not entirely sure. I don't necessarily say them on the air, but one of the things that I want to transition to saying is that I do, for the listeners and for you and for anyone, okay. I do have a Patreon. And there's been a mixed bag of reviews, but know that if you're at home watching this, and know that if you do donate to my Patreon, I promise that I'm not giving a penny to any politician. I'm giving a significant portion, perhaps not all of it, but a significant portion to help other blind people who and organizations who are deserving of my help. Trust me, I'm a penny pincher, and I don't just give away a penny easily. So, you may or
I
may
like
not want
it.
to check. You may. Well, good. Come. Well, good. I'll send you my Patreon then.
Please do. Yep.
Okay. And
I,
that's
I'm
that's
I'm doing this
really
whole Patreon thing.
you are or you are not.
I haven't. Yeah, I'm new to it. I remember it coming out like 3 or 4 years ago. Bill Burr started one, and he's like, I don't have time for that crap. It was his words.
Probably. See, he
But I
might
hear
have
a lot of
had.
people have
You
a
know
lot of
what? You know
success.
what it was. See, I remember what it was. He did have time to tell you about it, but it was during the show, and he was distracted by your clothes, so he didn't have time for that in the script, right? So he was so distracted
Oh,
with
sorry. Okay.
with the shirt, he couldn't get to the Patreon story. But
Fair enough.
but love it. Yeah. I mean, it's the legal. It's the only legal way that like podcasters can basically ask for a donation. It's the only platform that it does that
Really.
securely. So, yeah. And then there's all these other questions from all over the world. Well, does it work in this country? Does it work in that? I don't know, but I do know that that's the way. That's the way that would work. So I
Well,
completely support that. Yeah.
let's talk
Go ahead.
offline about that because I have some more questions.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah, yeah, yeah. Sure
Of that.
thing.
That's cool.
Sure thing.
Thanks
Sure
for
thing.
sharing that.
My pleasure. My pleasure. So I completely support your
What was
motivation,
I
and
saying?
it's so important to help people who are deserving of help. That's so good. So all right. Well, I'm going to have you back on here for part two. Many more episodes to come. I am.
Fair enough.
I am truthfully. Yeah, goodness, yeah, 21:17. Yeah, I'm starting to run out of time. So I have just a couple more questions, and then we're going to see you in a lot more episodes here. But so when you aren't podcasting and working, what is the most unusual hobby that you do that I would never expect that you do?
Oh no, I'm not sure we're ready for that conversation, Aaron. I'm kidding. Uh, what would that be? Oh, I collect baseball cards.
Cool. All right. Fair enough. I never grew up with baseball. What is your dream card that you want to have in your collection? The dream card.
I have them all.
Oh, well, why are you collecting then? If you have them all, you can't say you're collecting.
Um, yeah, okay. You know what? Fair enough. So I found like 6,000 cards of mine that I collected in high school and middle school.
So
This
maybe
past summer.
maybe
So
you
they've
should
been
say
untouched for
maybe
20
it's
years.
your collection is in a renaissance. You're rejuvenating
Oh,
your
yeah.
collection. It's a renaissance of your
There we go.
collection. There we go. All right. So you're into the
I like it.
baseball. Well, that's good. That's good. I'm more of a FIFA World Cup guy. I'm not terribly into the American sports, but I follow the FIFA World
Oh,
Cup.
you kidding me?
Yeah, yeah, it's
You're a
weird.
FIFA
I'm
guy?
I'm
Oh
totally,
no,
yeah.
no, I'm a FIFA guy.
No, I thought you just got done saying you found baseball cards. I thought you're a baseball guy.
Yeah, no, I'm not a baseball fan. No, I just love the baseball cards I collected because they have sentimental value. I don't ever watch baseball. That's crazy.
Okay. Okay. So you
But sign
kind of
me up
were.
for Ronaldo, favorite player all time. Messi, obviously,
Yeah. Well,
awesome.
good. Well, if any of you guys have those cards, send them over because I don't have any cards. But that no, but you know what? That's an interesting answer. You kind of like the culture behind baseball cards. You kind of like the culture and the Americanism behind that. I totally get that. That's kind of cool. Yeah. That's great. All right. All right. Um. Well, this has been a very entertaining, very really cool first episode. Really loved doing this.
Yeah, I appreciate it.
What about the part of the show?
One more
Oh
thing
yeah, yeah. Well,
before I
I'm going to
forget.
let you ask a question, but yeah, one more thing before you forget. Yeah,
Oh
go
yeah.
ahead. Yeah,
So
yeah.
I have two companies. Bob It Up Money. I started as a financial consulting, but you brought up the word globally, I think 3 times. I know at least twice. But I started Bobby Global 3 months ago. And
Oh yeah,
I'll talk
I
to you
did
more about
notice.
what that is offline. And I think you'd be very excited at what I'm doing there. So I'll talk to you about that offline, though.
Cool, cool. All right, all right. Well, that's really excellent. Oh, that's excellent. So, if you can only ask me one question, I mean, what question? What do you really want to know about me?
Man, these are great, Aaron. One question. Where do you see yourself when you're 50. I didn't realize that was I probably asked that wrong, but you know what I mean. When you're 50 years old, where do you think you'll be?
Successful. And contributing to whatever society we're left with in 2041. To that year, I would be 50 in 2041, 29 now. I don't know. That's a pretty scary question. If you get my drift, let's see what happens this week. Let's see what happens in 4 years. Let's just do it 4 years at a time. Let's just go in 4 year installments, I guess. I don't know.
2020 has taught me to take it day by day. I don't know about you.
So I have a kind of a weird actually I have a really good question. So right now, the military boot camps and the military, like, how are they function? How are they able to function? Obviously, they still have to run boot camps for all services, right? Or how does that work? That's probably a whole nother can of worms. But what do you think?
Holding the can of worms, and I'm so happy. I don't know which way your audience leans politically, but I'll put it this way. I'm glad the leadership that's within our military is in charge of what's going on there. However, this is an unprecedented event, and there have been a lot of mistakes. But the best part about our military is we don't make the same mistake twice. Hopefully. So I think we're going to be okay.
Well, I appreciate that. If someone wants to get in touch with you, how would they go about doing that?
Do I get my cell phone and address out here? Is that where I'll do this?
You can give out. You
I'm
can
kidding,
give out.
man.
Oh. Okay. Oh yeah, that would be pretty. Actually, in this day and age, that would be pretty
Your
scary.
face, you're like,
But then again, people
Yeah,
have
no,
people have said everything on podcasts. So then again, who knows?
yeah, there you go. Yeah. So the easiest way to get a hold of me is Bobby@BobbyGlobal.com, or Bobby@BobbyMoney.com. So if you want to talk about social media, Bobby Global. If you want to talk about financial consulting and my approach to more efficient wealth is what it comes down to. I have no client that wants to get rich. Every client I have wants to be comfortably wealthy. And that's the promise I deliver. If you like analytics and you like things being laid out and the guesswork taken out of a lot of things, I'm pretty good at that. So that's my plugs. And the Blue Falcon podcast, don't forget about that. That's what I love doing.
We won't. We won't. Don't worry. Don't worry. I'll be hovering around that page. I'll be hovering around there.
I was reminding myself.
Oh yeah. By the way, hi everybody. My name's Aaron Richmond. This is the Aaron's Opinion podcast on YouTube. Just in case people's air got so bad in their garage they had to go open the door. Maybe it got so cold they forgot what they were listening to by the time they walked back. You never know.
Dang.
Well, anyway,
I think there might be a leak in here somewhere. My bad. We're good.
Well, I'm impressed that you're in your sitting, guys. For those of you who don't have any vision, it looks like he's sitting in his garage, facing me. He's sitting in his garage with his setup there. So, how about maybe?
Why?
Can we move the microphone inside la maison, the house, by any chance?
I like to be outside when I'm working, and I can't, just have all my stuff in the yard. So, like, closest thing to it, garage open all day long.
Well, I tell you what, try this. You can do it from your office inside your home, but you can open the windows and get the cold outside air in and make you like the outside inside type of thing. Then you can,
That's your opinion, Aaron. That's just your opinion.
Are you kidding? Are you kidding me? Wow. Okay, guys. This was quite an episode. Apparently that's just my opinion. Well, guys, it's been a great pleasure having Bobby on from the Blue Falcon podcast. I can promise you that he is always welcome on this podcast And I'm inviting myself to his podcast because I know I'm welcome there. If you want to,
Yes, sir.
well, there we go. If you want to tell me you in the audience want to tell me what a horrible person I am and that I'm deemed to hell, you are more than welcome to do so by emailing Aaron's. Don't choke on the product there. Don't choke on the coffee. Aaron's opinion
Oof.
6 at Aaron's
All right.
opinion 6 at gmail.com. But then again, nobody ever emails me, so that must mean that I'm just a great saint and everything's fine. Aaron's opinion 6 at gmail.com.
Oh,
Wow.
you're about to get lit up.
Wow, everybody. Well, okay. Good. Follow us on Facebook, follow us on Twitter, follow us on Patreon. Follow us on YouTube. You can comment below. Don't forget to share the episode, like all of that. Anyway, this was this one. Wow. That was cool.
It's different. I know. It's good stuff.
This was quite your material and your sense of inspiration. Strap ourselves in. We're gonna have them on this thing a lot more times. All right, everybody. I have a slogan. Do you know what my slogan is that I end the podcast with on every episode?
Oh, I do. Were you asking me?
Yeah. Do you know what my slogan is?
First off, let me say thank you very much for everything you do. By the way, I was inspired by you.
Welcome.
But yes, let's make a difference with one person today. And
Correct.
The world tomorrow.
That's another good one that I could use. But the one that I've been saying these days, thanks everybody. Hold on. As we say in show business, we'll certainly be right back. Help one person today, help 1 million people tomorrow.